We all know bootleg games have a reputation for being awful, and MaxPlay Classic Games is no exception. So what makes this bootleg special? To this day, this is the only unlicensed software ever released on the GameCube. Even better, this one game is actually 10 games in a trench coat. Could you imagine if Pokemon 4-in-1 had 10 games? These games were originally created for the Game Boy Advance, so they might look lackluster, but there's more beyond the surface that we can get into. Without further ado, let's get on with the first game, Bounty Hunter X. For as good as the art looks by bootleg standards, there's no music at all, and you only have crude sound effects made by mouth to keep you entertained. I started on easy mode because I didn't plan on beating medium or hard mode, but you actually see new content by playing through them both, so I did. You have two weapons, this red blaster that fires in all directions, and this slow, weak beam of energy. You get coins by defeating enemies, and you can spend those coins to level up your weapon. Easy and medium are nothing special, hard mode is where it really gets difficult. You can max out your weapon quickly in hard mode because more enemies means more coins, but since it would be too easy that way, the game just throws ridiculous obstacles at you, like, invincible enemies. Your screen will be flooded with enemies and bullets, making it hard to see or move. New enemies also appear, meaning you have to play around them without knowing what most of them do. Your execution has to be almost flawless. You pick a second weapon before starting your run, but I didn't know how to activate it until I had almost beaten the game. You can pick between 3 of them, and I picked the enemy bullet removal, which made these fights much easier. It costs money to use, but you'll have so much left over that you won't have to think about it. Also, enemies don't come all at once, they spawn throughout 15 waves, and you only have 3 lives. That means a single mistake can send you back to the very beginning, which is rage-inducing. For my hour of hard work, I had my name memorialized at the top of the Bounty Hunter X local leaderboard, never to be touched again. Also, there's no option to switch between different games once you pick one, so whenever I wanted to waste time playing another one, I had to also waste time resetting my console. Hopefully Chopper 2 can blow us away with its amazing gameplay. You fly by holding a button and drop by letting it go. The gameplay is as simple as it comes, but not in the fun way. When I first started the game, I didn't know how to play, so I crashed immediately. It happened so quickly that I sat there in shock. Little did I know, this was just foreshadowing. The full title is Chopper 2: The Return because it features the return of increasingly frustrating gameplay. There are some seriously tight gaps you have to clear to beat this game, since you can only unlock a new stage by clearing the previous one. After 30 minutes, you're treated to, you won all levels, game completed, then it's right back to the title screen. I was a little discouraged, but I realized there's no point in dragging my feet when I could be dragging tiles instead. I'm all for the retro-style arcade games that the box advertises. Gone are the days of playing sliding puzzles on those old arcade machines. Dragon Tiles 3 brings the riveting experience straight to your home. The cover is pretty misleading. You see a cool dragon and think you're in for a dungeon crawler, not a puzzle game. If we're being completely honest, I didn't even bother finishing the first puzzle because I knew this was going to be the entire game and I just wasn't interested. While the idea of switching between number view and picture view was enticing, I would have to invade another game. Invaders is perfect for you if you want to play a version of Space Invaders that is so extremely laggy it's hardly functional. What, is the GameCube not capable of displaying a 2-frame animation loop? The flaws are really apparent, especially when there isn't even any music to distract you. I don't want to play a game that tells you what it's supposed to be about, I want the gameplay to speak for itself. Think about it. If I pick up a game called Jetpack 2, then I expect to be ripping through the skies on my jetpack, not questioning where the first game went. Jetpack 2 is a platforming shooter that lets you take down your foes with an assortment of weapons, if you don't blow yourself up with the bazooka in the first 10 seconds after spawning in. Apparently, I missed the update that makes them heat-seeking, because whenever I was in an enemy's line of sight, it was never for long, and they would instantly tear me into shreds. But whenever I used my bazooka, it never worked. That's really about the whole game. It was fun for a little bit, but there's just not that much to do. I tried to go back to the menu and select a different map, but it wouldn't read my inputs, so I went on to another game. I stayed in the bootleg loop with Loop-de-Loop, a puzzle game that's kinda like Snake, but whenever you wrap around enemies, you defeat them. It's actually a pretty unique and interesting concept. Everything you do gives you points, so the goal is to survive for as long as possible with 3 lives. This game was also really laggy. I can only assume processing these highly advanced graphics is not an easy feat. I like a good challenge, so I picked extreme difficulty with 2 exclamation marks, which tells me the game isn't messing around. Unfortunately, the lag got to me, but I still earned my place on the leaderboard. This is one of the better games on this list, and I wouldn't mind playing it again. One game that I'd never want to play again is Paddle Panic. In this game, there are paddles on all 4 sides of the screen. You can head to different rooms by hitting the ball through the different sides of the screen. Some rooms have a pink heart in them, and by collecting all 4 of them by hitting them with the ball, you beat the game. This would be a really cool concept if the execution wasn't so terrible. The screen is so small that there's no time to move your paddle in response to the ball. You start with 8 lives, but with how much effort it takes just to play the game, they'll all be gone before you know it. On the opposite end of the difficulty spectrum is Popem, which sees you popping balloons to progress. These balloons split into smaller balloons, and when they get really small, they should be a hassle to take care of. I say should because the game is ridiculously easy in spite of that. By the time I stopped playing at level 19, I already had 22 lives to spare, and while I didn't make it all the way to the end, I doubt the reward would have been anything to write home about. I am curious as to how this kid is breathing in space though. We're back to more absurd games with Proxima. Just like Chopper 2, Proxima drops you in without explaining how to play the game. It isn't a traditional shoot 'em up because you can turn around, and I had no idea how to complete the level. At first, I thought I had to defeat all the enemies, but when I went from one side of the screen to the other, I noticed enemies never stopped spawning. I pushed the wrong button by mistake, and realized that if I can't shoot these cookies with my regular blast, I should try using the other ones. That worked, but I had another problem. Every time I turned around to hit one, enemies always ambushed me, dealing major damage. I made it to level 2 with 1 life left, and that went about just as well as you would expect. Let's close off the list with a super power shot. You control a ball to navigate obstacles and collect several stars scattered across the level. When you collect all the stars in one level, you move on to the next one. The attention put into the game is actually impressive. Just look at the title screen. The graphics don't disappoint, and I don't mind listening to the same song every stage because it's actually pretty good. Funnily enough, this is also the only game that I almost couldn't play. I got soft locked on the corner of this block after hitting it too hard. If I hadn't made a save state before this, I'd have to redo everything since there aren't any options in the pause menu. Despite that, this is still the best game in the pack and it's not even close. So what have we learned? I think the takeaway here is that even if your game is really bad, you might be featured on some mediocre gaming channel, so you should never give up on your dreams. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you like this video, any support goes a long way, and I appreciate you all. Take care, and I'll see you later.